The webbed moon Jason stepped onto the cold surface of the moon. His boots sank into soft silver dust. The trees here were tall and glowing, with purple leaves that moved even when there was no wind. His scanner beeped quietly no dangerous creatures nearby. At least, that's what it said, Dot. But then, he heard it. A low sound. Not a growl. Not a roar. A cry. It echoed through his helmet, sad, soft, broken. Jason froze. This moon was supposed to be empty. No cities. No people. No life except plants and bugs. So who was crying? He raised his rifle and turned slowly, his visor flashing blue as it scanned the thick jungle of glowing trees. Another sound followed. A whimper closer now. It felt like someone was in pain. Someone afraid. Jason moved carefully, his boots crunching over dry leaves. He pushed a vine aside and saw something hanging from the trees. A body, wrapped in silk, swinging gently. Jason stepped closer. The thing was covered from neck to feet in thick white webbing. Only the head was free. It was a girl. But not human. She had sharp ears, long white silver hair, and fur along her cheeks. Her yellow eyes opened and locked on his. Jason held his breath. She looked scared, not angry, not wild. Just scared. Can you hear me? He asked, turning on his speaker. The alien girl didn't reply, but her body moved slightly, and her lips trembled. Jason looked up. The web was stuck between 5 giant trees like a trap. Something had caught her. Maybe she walked into it. Maybe she was placed here on purpose. He pulled out his knife and tried to cut the silk. Nothing. It was too strong. He touched it with his glove. It was sticky and warm, still fresh. That meant whatever made it was still nearby. Jason stepped back, scanning the trees again. Still nothing on the radar. He looked at the girl again. Her eyes were wet. She cried silently, her chest moving with small, painful breaths. "I'm not here to hurt you," Jason said. "I'll get you out." Still no answer. But her eyes closed for a second, like she understood. He tried the laser cutter next. It burned some of the silk, but only made a small hole. Not enough. Jason checked his gear. Not much fuel left. Not much time either. His oxygen warning flashed red. He couldn't stay long. But he also couldn't leave her like this. He sat down under the tree, thinking. What kind of creature was she? Half human, half wolf? Her skin looked smooth but strong. Her fangs were small. She looked more like a warrior than a monster. And yet someone had left her like prey. He stood up again, walked closer, and said softly, "Did someone do this to you?" The girl finally moved her lips. One word, not in English, but full of fear. Virex. Jason didn't know the word, but her voice shook as she said it. She was warning him. He turned around fast. Something moved in the trees. A leg. Then another. Long, black, shining, spider, big alien. Jason's heart pounded. His HUD blinked red now. Multiple targets approaching. They were coming for her. Maybe to eat her. Or worse. He raised his rifle. Shot once. Twice. A spider fell from a tree, but more came behind it. Jason ran back to her. "I can't cut you out," he said quickly. "But I won't let them take you." He turned the flamethrower switch on his wrist. His suit hissed. He didn't have much fuel, but enough to make a wall of fire. FWOOOSH. The fire burst from his glove, catching the webs around them. The trees lit up in red light. The spider stopped. Jason turned in circles, shooting flames at each shadow that moved. The silk burned slowly, glowing orange. The girl screamed not from pain, but from shock. He looked back. The fire had reached the top of the trap. The silk was breaking. The girl fell right into his arms. She was light, weak. Her body was shaking. He placed her gently on the ground. More spiders crawled forward, but stopped at the fire. They didn't cross it. Jason held her close. It's okay. I've got you. She looked up at him, breathing hard. And then she smiled. A small, tired, broken smile. The flames still burned behind them. Jason's arms were shaking, not from fear, but from holding her. The alien girl lay beside him now, breathing fast, skin covered in ash and sweat. Her eyes were half open, alert but unsure. Jason placed his weapon on the ground and raised both hands slowly. I'm not your enemy, he said calmly. You're safe now. She didn't move. Her yellow eyes stared at him, glowing softly in the moonlight. Then suddenly she growled, not loud, not to attack. Just a warning. Jason stopped where he was. All right, he whispered. I get it. You don't trust me. He stepped back a little, giving her space. She slowly sat up. Her body was weak, still covered in strands of burnt silk. Her claws twitched. Her legs were shaking. She looked like she wanted to run, but didn't know where to go. Jason looked at her carefully. She wasn't fully werewolf. Her arms were humanoid, but her nails were like small black blades. Her tail was curled behind her, stiff with fear. Her silver hair had burn marks, yet somehow she still looked strong, like a warrior who had been broken but not destroyed. Jason knelt slowly and pulled a small water bottle from his belt. He placed it on the ground and pushed it toward her. For you, he said gently. You need it. She looked at the bottle, then at him. Still no. Trust, still no words. But she didn't growl this time. After a few seconds, she reached for the bottle. Jason sat down across from her. You don't understand me, do you? She didn't reply. She drank the water slowly, carefully, like she thought it might be poison. Jason smiled just a little. That's fine. I'll stay quiet if that helps. The jungle behind them hissed as the fire started to die out. The spiders were gone for now, but Jason knew they'd be back. He looked at her again. What were you doing here? He asked, more to himself than her. Who wrapped you up like that? Was it them or someone else? She turned her head sharply at his words. One word caught her attention. Them. Her jaw clenched. Her claws dug into the dirt. Jason saw her reaction. The spiders? He asked. She gave the smallest nod. They did that to you? A pause. Then she nodded again. Jason's eyes narrowed. He'd never seen spiders wrap intelligent life before. Something felt wrong, like she wasn't just prey. Maybe she was punishment, or bait. Why? Jason whispered. Why you? Suddenly, she touched her chest. Her fingers tapped slowly, 3 taps in a pattern. Jason leaned forward. What does that mean? She did it again. Then she pointed to the sky. Upward, toward the stars. Jason followed her hand. A signal? You were sending a signal? She tapped her chest again. Jason thought hard. Maybe she was a scout too. Or a soldier. Pointed at herself, then at him. Jason tilted his head. Me? She shook her head slowly, and again pointed at herself, then at him. Then drew a circle in the dirt between them. Jason blinked. Us? Together? She didn't smile, but she didn't growl either. Then she did something unexpected. She took a piece of her burnt silk, rolled it into a small thread, and handed it to him. Jason took it, confused. What's this? She looked at him deeply, and whispered one word. Bond. The silence around them grew heavier. Jason looked at the thread in his hand. It was warm, not normal silk, not natural. Some part of it was alive. He looked at her. You're trying to tell me something, aren't you? She nodded. Jason stood up and checked his wrist scanner. The spiders were still gone, but his oxygen was down to 30%. He had maybe 40 minutes left. He turned to her. Look, I need to get back to my ship. You can come with me or stay here. But if you stay, they'll come back. She didn't move. Jason reached for his backpack, pulled out a soft emergency blanket, and offered it. You can trust me. I burned the web. I'll protect you. She stood up slowly. Her legs wobbled, but she didn't fall. Then she took a step forward. Just one, and then another. She walked beside him, cautious, silent. But she walked with him. Jason glanced at her one last time. We'll figure this out. Together. Behind them, far in the trees, a sharp sound echoed. The spiders had returned, but the girl didn't run this time. And neither did he. Jason walked carefully, the alien girl beside him. The jungle was quiet now. Too quiet. His scanner blinked yellow movement in the distance. They had escaped the web trap, but not the danger. Jason looked at the sky. It was turning darker. This moon had fast nights. And the spiders, they hunted in darkness. The girl said nothing. Her feet moved lightly over the soil. She kept her nose up, sniffing the air, ears twitching with every small sound. She was still weak, but her instincts were sharp. She knew they were being followed. Jason spoke softly. We need to find shelter. She pointed toward a group of thick rocks ahead. Jason nodded. All right, that'll do. They reached the rocks and crouched behind them. Jason tapped his wrist pad and activated a small energy dome. It wouldn't last long, but it could block smells, heat, and sound. Enough to hide them, for now. He gave the girl another water bottle. She drank, slower this time. Then she looked at him with narrowed eyes. Her voice was barely a whisper. They come when stars hide. Jason stared at her. You can speak English? She nodded slowly. Little. I learn listening. Jason smiled. Smart. The girl looked at him seriously. They don't stop. Hunt all. Never alone. Hive. Jason understood now. The spiders were not wild beasts. They were a species, organized, dangerous, and they had a purpose. Suddenly Jason's scanner turned red. 10 life forms. Approaching fast. The girl tensed. They smell me. Still. Jason cursed. Ben, we're not safe here. She looked up at him. They want me. Take me back. I was gift. A gift? She nodded. From traitors. My pack betrayed me. Fed me to Queen. Jason's blood boiled. They used you as a sacrifice? She didn't reply. But her eyes said enough. Jason stood up and turned off the dome. Then, let's give them nothing. He picked up his flamethrower and slung his rifle on his back. We move. They ran through the trees, Jason ahead, the girl behind. Her strength was returning, step by step. She moved faster now, more stable. Her ears picked up things his scanners couldn't. Behind them, a loud screech shattered the air. Jason turned back and saw them, spiders crawling across the trees like shadows with legs. Big, fast, deadly. We won't outrun them. He shouted. The girl growled, her teeth showing. Then we fight. Jason scanned the map. A narrow canyon appeared just ahead. There. We trapped them in the pass. They reached the canyon walls just as the first spider jumped out. It was massive, its eyes glowing red, legs clicking like steel. Jason blasted it with fire whoosh. The spider screamed and twisted in the air, burning, falling into ash. More followed. 5, 6, 8. Jason looked to the girl. Ready? She closed her eyes. Her body shook. And then she changed. Fur grew thicker. Muscles rippled under her skin. Her claws extended. Her eyes turned gold. Not just glowing, burning, The werewolf was awake. She leapt at the spider's claws. Flashing, teeth tearing. Jason stood beside her, fire roaring from his gauntlet. Flames, fangs, fury. Together, they held the canyon. One spider got through, jumped toward Jason. He stumbled, his weapon jammed. But the girl caught it midair, slammed it into the rocks, and ripped it in half. Jason gasped. Remind me never to fight you. She didn't smile. Not safe yet. He checked the scanner again. 4 more coming, bigger ones. He spotted something crawling along the cliffs. His face turned pale. The Queen's scouts. They're marking. You, she snarled. Then we burn them all. Jason smiled. Now we're talking. They fought side by side until the last spider fell. The rocks were covered in ash and green blood. Jason dropped to one knee, breathing hard. The girl stood above him, blood on her fur, fire in her eyes. Jason looked up. We made it? She shook her head. For now. Hive Queen will come next. She does not forgive. Jason laughed weakly. Great. I always wanted to meet royalty. She sat beside him. You are strange, but brave? Jason chuckled. Thanks, I think. They rested. In silence. The jungle watched them. The stars above flickered bright, but cold. Tomorrow, the Queen would come. But tonight, they had each other. The fire had burned low. The canyon was quiet again. But Jason couldn't sleep. He sat with his back against a stone wall, watching. The girl across from him. She was curled beside the flames, half covered in his emergency blanket. Her breathing was slow, steady, but her body still twitched sometimes, like she was fighting nightmares. He stared at her silver fur, the glowing lines across her arms, and the strange symbols etched on her collarbone. They weren't tattoos. They looked ancient, faded but alive. Jason whispered to himself. What are you, really? She opened her eyes. He hadn't realized she was awake too. The girl sat up, her ears alert. You ask too many questions. Jason blinked. I thought you were asleep, resting, not sleeping. She looked at the stars above. Spiders always come again. Sleep is weakness. Jason frowned. You've been running from them for a long time, haven't you? She nodded slowly. Since they took my home. Jason leaned forward. You said your people gave you to them. Why? Her voice turned cold. I was born during a blood moon. My form changed too soon. My pack feared me. Jason looked at her glowing claws and the heat rising from her skin. You mean this form? She nodded. Not normal, stronger, dangerous. They said I'd bring ruin. Jason shook his head. You saved me? She looked away. They didn't see that. Only fear. Jason stood and walked to the fire. He tossed a broken spider leg into the flames, and it hissed with green smoke. I've met people like that, he said, afraid of what they don't understand. So they destroy it or give it away. The girl tilted her head. Is that what humans do? Jason smiled a little. Some, but not all of us. She watched him quietly. Then, slowly, she reached for the silk thread she'd given him earlier. It still glowed faintly in his jacket pocket. You kept it, she said. Jason nodded. It felt important. She leaned closer. It is. It's a bond thread. A promise. One made with soul fire. Jason raised a brow. Soul fire? She placed a claw over her chest. In my people's lore, when 2 souls burn together, one thread is born. You saved me. Now the thread remembers. Jason was quiet for a moment. So we're bonded. She looked into his eyes. Not fully, not yet. Jason looked away, nervous. And what does that mean? She didn't answer. Instead, her body tensed. Her ears twitched. Jason noticed it too. The fire's heat wasn't reaching her anymore. Her skin was glowing brighter. Her breath turning smoky. "What's happening?" he asked. She grabbed her chest, falling to her knees. The silk, still inside, still burning. Jason rushed to her side. "What can I do?" She looked at him, her voice shaky. "Nothing. This is who I really am," she screamed. Her back arched. Her claws dug into the stone. Her fur began to shimmer blue flames, licking across her shoulders. Her tail flicked. Wildly. Her eyes rolled back, then blazed golden. Jason stepped back in shock. She wasn't in pain. She was changing. From within her skin, symbols glowed brighter. Ancient markings, burning like stars. Her spine shifted. Her bones cracked, but she didn't fall. She stood taller now, more balanced. Her tail flared like a whip of fire. Her silver fur became streaked with black and glowing blue. Jason couldn't believe what he was seeing. She wasn't just a werewolf. She was something far older. Something elemental. Her voice echoed with power now. "I was not just born in fire. I am fire." Jason stood still. "You're a flameburn?" She nodded. "My ancestors were guardians of the crystal moons. But the hive came and fed on our kind. Few of us remain." Jason looked at her new form, majestic, glowing, dangerous, beautiful. "No wonder they fear you." She looked down. "But you didn't," Jason smiled. "No, I saw someone who needed help." She stepped toward him, the flames on her arms dimming as she regained control. Her body pulsed with heat, but it didn't burn him. "I still do," she whispered. Jason gently took her hand. It was warm but steady. She leaned closer, her voice softer now. "Tomorrow, the Queen comes. You saved me once, but you don't have to stay." Jason laughed quietly. "You're joking, right? I didn't burn down half a forest and survive 10 spiders just to walk away now." She blinked, surprised. Jason grinned. "You're not alone anymore. And neither am I." Far above, in the jungle, shadows, glowing red eyes opened. The Spider Queen had awakened. She had felt the soul fire bond, and she was coming. Jason checked his rifle for the 3rd time. The battery was full. His flamethrower tank was half. His oxygen meter blinked low. Less than 2 hours left. The alien girl stood beside him, calm but alert. Her new form, the flame-born huntress, still. Burned softly, heat rising from her fur like mist. She looked out at the jungle ahead. "They're coming." Jason nodded. "I know. I can feel it too." The night air was too still. No birds. No wind. No sound except the distant rustling of many legs. The Spider Queen was near. Jason set traps near the canyon pass-pulse mines and laser tripwires. He looked back at the girl. "You sure this is where they'll attack?" She nodded. "Yes. The Queen will take the same path she hunted before. She remembers blood." Jason adjusted his wrist pad. "Good. We'll make her regret it." The girl stared at the glowing silk thread still tied around his wrist. Her voice was low. "You don't have to do this, Jason." He turned. "Yes, I do." She looked away. "You're human. You have a ship, a world to return to." Jason stepped closer. "And you were left behind, used, hurt, but you're still fighting. So I'll fight too." Their eyes met. No more fear. No more doubt. Just a silent bond. Suddenly, the first alarm rang. A tripwire snapped. Then another. Jason raised his weapon. "They're here." The trees moved. The ground shook. Dozens, hundreds of glowing red eyes appeared in the shadows. The Queen hadn't come alone. Jason whispered, "Let's make this count." The first spider leapt big and fast. Boom. A mine exploded, tearing it apart. Another followed. Jason hit it with fire. The girl lunged beside him, claws ripping through limbs like paper. Her body moved like a flame, fast, hot, untouchable. One after another, spiders fell, but more kept coming. Jason shouted, "We need to fall back." The girl growled, "She's here. I feel her." Jason looked around. Where? The answer came from above. A roar. Not from lungs, but from 8 throats. The Spider Queen descended from the cliffs, massive, black and gold, eyes glowing like fire. Her legs crashed into the rocks, sending tremors through the ground. Jason stared in horror. She's huge. The girl stepped forward. She is Hive Mother. She eats fire. Jason grabbed her arm. You can't face her alone. She turned to him. You gave me freedom. Now I give you time. Before he could stop her, she leapt forward straight at the Queen. The two clashed in a storm of heat and shadows. The Queen hissed, silk firing from her mouth like ropes. The girl dodged, cutting the threads with burning claws. Her body blazed. A comet in the night. Jason fought off the smaller spiders, but he kept looking toward her. She was outnumbered, but not outmatched. Still, the Queen struck one leg, slammed the girl into a rock wall. She cried out, but stood again, growling. Jason couldn't wait anymore. He ran forward, firing at the Queen's side. The Queen turned. 8 eyes locked on him. Jason yelled, "Yeah, that's right. Look at me now." The Queen charged. Jason activated. His last mind jumped aside. Boom! The Queen screamed, her leg torn apart. The girl took the chance. She jumped higher than ever and drove her claws into the Queen's face, flames bursting from her hands. The Queen shrieked, burning from the inside out. She fell and didn't rise again. Silence. Smoke filled the air. The smaller spiders ran leaderless. Broken. Jason coughed, limping toward her. Are you okay? She turned, bleeding, fur burnt, but smiling. Yes. He held out his hand. Let's finish this together. She took it. Together, they walked through the ashes of the hive. Later that night, by the campfire, Jason looked at the stars. His oxygen alert blinked red now. She saw it. You're running out of air. Jason shrugged. Yeah, but it was worth it. She placed her palm on his chest. Then come with me. Jason blinked. Where? She looked toward the cliffs. I know a place. Old Flameborn tech. Maybe we can call your people. Jason smiled. You mean both of us? She nodded. You burned the web for me. I'll carry you to the stars. The moon was quiet now. The spiders were gone. The jungle no longer whispered death. Jason sat near the cliff's edge, breathing slowly. His helmet visor blinked red oxygen critical. Less than 10 minutes left. The werewolf girl, now fully flameborn, stood beside him, her fur glowing softly in the darkness. She looked tired, but calm. Her silver-blue flame no longer raged. It danced now. She turned to Jason. Are you ready? Jason smiled weakly. I don't even know where we're going. She nodded toward the mountain in the distance. There's a vault. Old Flameburn technology. My ancestors built it before the hive came. Jason stood, swaying a little. Will it work? She stepped closer and caught his arm before he fell. It has to. They walked together slowly, through ash and glowing embers, past spider corpses and shattered webs. The silk thread still tied around Jason's wrist shimmered with heat, but not from fire, from connection. He looked at it. Do you feel it too? A girl nodded. Yes, it grows stronger. Jason asked, what does it mean? Now that the bond is complete, she paused. It means we no longer belong to the world we came from. We belong to each other? Jason smiled. That sounds better than Earth anyway. They reached the mountain gate. Hidden behind vines and stone was a door round ancient, and pulsing with faint blue light. The girl stepped forward and placed her clawed hand on the center. A symbol lit up. The door opened with a deep, warm hum. Inside, a chamber of smooth black metal, covered in glowing runes. In the middle, a communication pedestal and a small stasis. Bed. Jason's breath caught in his throat. This is real. She helped him to the bed. Lie down. It will protect you until help comes. Jason looked up at her. You're not coming? She nodded. I will. But the signal needs to be sent from the mountaintop. Far range, I can run faster. Jason held her hand tightly. Don't leave for long, she squeezed back. I won't, I promise. He lay down. The stasis shell closed gently around him, air filling the pod. His lungs relaxed. His body finally felt safe. As his eyes closed, he saw her walking toward the sunlight flames rising around her feet, her silhouette glowing like a myth. Hours passed. Jason awoke to the sound of static. He blinked. His pod was open, oxygen full, his gear charged. The screen above him read, Signal received, rescue ship en route. ETA 129 UTEC smiled. She had done it, but she wasn't in the chamber. Jason stepped outside. He found her sitting on a cliff, watching the stars. The wind played with her silver hair. Her back was to him. He walked over and sat beside her. You made it back, she nodded. I waited. Jason looked up at the sky. A faint light blinked among the stars. His ship, his people. He turned to her. What about you? She didn't answer right away. Then she said softly, the hive is gone. My pack is gone. I am Flameborn, but I don't know where I belong. Jason took off his glove and placed his hand over hers. You belong with me, she turned, surprised. Even after what I am? Jason smiled. You were crying in spider. Silk when I found you. Now you're standing in sunlight. You're everything they feared and everything I admire. Her eyes glowed. Not with flame, but with feeling. I thought I had no future, she whispered. Jason looked out at the rising sun. Then let's build one. The rescue ship landed. Dust swirled. Engines roared. Jason turned to her one last time. Come with me? She stepped forward slowly. The silk thread around his wrist shimmered and then wrapped softly around hers. Bond was now complete. Together, they boarded the ship. As the vessel lifted off, the moon below faded into silver clouds. And in its place, a new story began. The end.